10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, drag racing fans, it is Tuesday night, so you know what that means. It's time for another special episode, special edition of the Competition Plus Power Hour. As always, I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., pinch hitting tonight, filling in for Lee Craft, the Monday morning racer, is my man, my brother from another mother, Mr. D. Bland, Dujane Bland. How's it going, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be able to do this tonight. It should be fun.
Second show, man. Happy to have you. Like we all know, Dujane is very knowledgeable in the sport of drag racing. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about, a lot of news in the world of drag racing. So we're not going to waste your time. Let's jump right into it. Dujane, what a race we saw this past weekend in wine country, Sonoma, California, the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. We witnessed history in pro stock motorcycle. Gage Herrera gets it done. He sweeps the swing.
It's amazing. I'm actually glad that they included the bikes into this Western swing. And Gage Herrera just keeps doing what he does. Andrew Hines and the boys got the bike running really well. They've got Eddie Krawick's bike picked up a little bit. But Gage is just riding his butt off. And he's taking no prisoners, man. He's going to be real tough, real tough. But a lot of drama in the pro stock motorcycle world.
Yeah, and not only was it the pro stock motorcycles in competition for the whole Western swing, but you go to Sonoma, right? This is how dominant Gage Herrera was. Qualified number one, won the first ever pro stock motorcycle all-star call-out on Saturday, is dominant on Sunday, 6 wins this season, 7 final rounds in 8 races. Pure dominance from Gage Herrera and the whole Vance and Hines team.
I mean, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? You come up, you shoot your shot, and you try, but they're right now they're just killing people. And let's not forget that the NHRA punished them for working hard and put weight on the bike, and they're still running fast. So I mean, teams who work hard and put in the work, the results will happen, and that's what they're doing right now.
For sure. And he joins a great list of company of other drivers to sweep the Western swing, like Joe Amato, who did it in 1991. John the Brute Force, he did it in 1994. Then you go to Corey Mack in the McDonald's car. He did it in 97. You go a little further down to Larry Dixon, 2003. 1 year later, Greg Anderson, 2004. Tony Schumacher with that dominant season in 2008. He did it that year. And the last man to do it was Antron Brown in 2009. But wait. Can't forget about Dan Fletcher. He did it twice in 2 different classes, stock and super stock, 1994 and 2013. That is the list of drivers that Gage Herrera joins of sweeping the Western swing. Before we move on, Dujane, we have a special guest in the green room. Didn't expect him here tonight. It's the captain.
Hey,
Bobby
remember
Bennett.
me?
What's going on?
How's it going, Bobby?
Well, I was up doing some work before I have to go to bed here in just a little bit because I'm usually up at 2 a.m. working on Competition Plus for the next day. So thought I'd jump in and tell you guys you're doing a great job, fine job. Couldn't have asked for a better group to run a show here. This is still kind of my show, ain't it?
Oh,
it's your show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure I didn't get voted off the island.
Oh no! This is
what
your
about
show.
that Sonoma race? Was that cool
awesome.
or what?
I enjoyed
But
it.
if you one of the things that's the toughest things for Competition Plus, and I'm trying to get the glare out of the background here. You may notice that we've been hammering it with a lot of stories. We're just scratching the surface of some of the stuff we got coming. I'm telling you, I'm back on the Legends of Series stuff. That's why I'm going in the middle of the night so I can get video editing done. Got Sox and Martin, Butch, Lil, and Joe Amato in the can ready to come out. But I know I'm jumping around here. But that Sonoma race, man, what an incredible event. And, everybody was saying, gosh, NHRA missed it. No, the teams missed it. on tune-up on a lot of things. And Cruz even admitted it. He says they didn't do anything wrong, but look at what all they had to do. Now, NHRA gets blamed for a lot of stuff, and granted, they don't help themselves shoot themselves in the foot time and time again. But when you look at it and you keep score, look at the score sheet, they do more right than they do wrong. And if you want to think of drag racing dying, you think of a world without the NHRA in it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hard.
That's what you. Hey, be careful what you ask for. One day it might happen. I hope to goodness I'm already retired and Darren's got a gray beard running Competition Plus, and you guys are having the time of your life. But just we've been pulling out some of the inner stories of the stuff going on. Like last week, how about Steve Torrance and the Boo Crew? Was that funny or what? And they weren't even ghosts either. They were booing.
I felt bad for the guy. Like nobody shook his hand or nothing.
Yeah, you going. It's like me when I walked on the ball team the first time that I played for, that we eventually went on to win 10 straight championships. They hadn't won a championship, and I'm not saying that I'm the reason that we won 10 straight championships, but I did help out. There's a value to an old white guy that can hit every time he swings the bat, get on base. So imagine this: you're at this park. It's in a pretty rough section of town. I'm the only white guy that walks up in there on the ball field. And I got the gray beard and everything, and they're looking at me like, what in the hell has happened? Did he get lost? I said, I heard y'all looking for ball players. I like to try out for it. Yeah, okay. And then I ran down a couple of fly balls. Of course, I looked like I was about 80 years old doing it. But then I got in the batter's box. Pow, pow, pow. It's just like, holy crap. Hey, you know what? You don't even have to play the field. Just go up there and hit.
Just hit.
and everyone, and then I go walking up and down the dugout saying, all right, to some of the guys that were subs. Now, remember, I'm the only white guy on this team, so I'm walking up and down the line saying, which one of you fellas am I going to get to come run for me? So I get on base, and I look over at him and walk off. But we ended up winning 10 straight championships, and I retired a champion. So now I coach girls travel ball softball, and it's absolutely and sometimes and you got to think, for most of my life, thinking outside of the box has been the normal for me. I mean, think about it. It was 1999. We were on dial-up, and I said, oh, wow, geez, I think I'll have a magazine on the internet. Yeah. And the first ad I went to sell to a guy, he said, how you going to sell me an ad to a magazine I can't take to the crapper with me? So, and the thing, and I'm getting to a point here because this is a team that I have built here at Competition Plus, in that I was looking for leaders in life who just happened to be softball players. And that's what I put on my ad. And girls that came out there, some of them, I had one girl as a catcher that could have thrown out somebody stealing center field. I mean, we put her on third base, and she was knocking the second baseman's glove off on the double play. And we're like, holy smokes. But then she wasn't a good teammate to her teammate. I said, you know what? If you think you're too good to be out here on this team, you are. See you later. And that's the same way with the team that we built here at Competition Plus. They're not prima donnas. They're the ones, a lot of them that have just built, and loyalty's been big here. I mean, I've got now 4 people, 20 years at Competition Plus.
That's amazing.
I mean, do you realize that next year will be 25 years for Competition Plus?
That's
25
insane.
years.
Mm.
And it's just, it's been a dream come true. You know,
Yeah.
one of my former partners, and of course, I couldn't have been too bad of a partner because when he passed away, he willed his part of the company to me. So he asked, he says, "What does doing this mean to you?" And I said, if I couldn't do this, I'd just rather not even be alive.
Wow.
You think about that. You're so hungry and you want something so bad that if you can't get it, it just ain't worth living. Now, my life has changed quite a bit. That and I had a chance to sell Competition Plus for a whole bundle of money, and I didn't. Because what kind of price can you put on missing 2 kids growing up?
Yeah.
What kind of price can you put on having a heart attack, diabetes, the COVID, all of those things? What kind of price on living the dream that you had since you were 12 years old? I mean, my granddaughter, she don't hand out compliments that much, but she said, "Papa, you had a dream and you followed it and you made it happen. I think that's what I'm most proud of you." And I'm like, "Who are you and what have you done with my granddaughter?" But it's one of those things, and I'm just speaking real. I mean, I sometimes I get lost in the shuffle of trying to deliver, the news daily, that sometimes I forget who's on the other side of reading that.
Right.
So that's why, and Darren's seen this before, that we're walking through the pits and somebody comes up and says, "Oh man, I love your magazine. God, it's awful." No, it's not awful. I mean, it's great. It's great. It's great. It's awesome is what I meant to say, but awful came out. And then I just look at him. I says, "What's your name?" And then they just look at me so surprised. I'm just like, "I just want to know your name." I mean, if somebody is willing to read and learn about this, I mean, all these people can say they are this and they are that, but none of them got 25 years out here.
No, I mean, I even remember myself stumbling on Competition Plus, just trying to look for drag racing stuff. And then when I kind of knew what it was, and then when my first time showing up to Gainesville, when I saw your van, I was like, "Dang, that's Competition Plus." Like, that's the magazine that's on the internet. And it was just kind of a awe moment for me because I do NFL. I've been doing NFL, but being able to come over to this side and then seeing some of the people like yourself that have really been pioneers of the sport, and then to be asked to be on this show, like I said the other night when I was on, the absolute honor what you've built here. Like I said, pioneer of the sport, and really, really have brought people in and kind of brought these characters or these drivers to life for people. And it's pretty awesome to see it still going strong today.
Well, 25 years, we will begin our march towards the 25th on September 15th of this year. We launched in September 15th, 1999. And it was a long, hard road, and it's I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing because it's been, I learned, and one of the things, and I don't shy away from my faith. I ain't perfect, and I thank goodness that I serve a God that strives for persistence over perfection.
Right.
and it's just one of those things where we just can't quit. can't quit. You've got. I can't do anything else. What else am I going to do? I mean, I could create a content company and create content out the wazoo, make a lot of money, but it was never my vision. It was my vision one day to see, guys such as yourself and see Darren, see new people that had that same look in their eyes, that one day, and just kind of keep working at it. Just keep at it. Make a name for yourself. And I went through those hard times so you guys would have a better way. I mean, sleeping in a car, just being broker than broke. I tell people, I said, you think that I've always had it easy. I can remember riding up the road to Shuffletown Dragway in 1987. I had a Buick Skylark that was probably hitting on 2 out of 4 cylinders. One day I was going to Shuffletown, and the doggone sunroof just blew out of the car. Just took it off like a doggone hatch. And I was just like, I can't catch a break. And here's the way it worked. I had enough money to buy 3 rolls of film, buy gasoline for my car, enough money to get my film developed. And I was gracious enough that Clinton Mashburn let me in free at Shuffletown Dragway watching the first ever Quick 8s of Pro Mod. And I had to take enough pictures and sell them to be able to finance my next week's trip. And every time I was making that run up to there, 2 songs would come on. Molly Cruz, Girls, 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 every time.
Good song.
That is a good song.
And that's one I had to ignore because here I was, a teenage father married. Okay? So you want to know a tough fight being a teenage parent married. And number 2, there was a song by bubblegum singer Debbie Gibson, Only in My Dreams. And that song, I promise you, it will play every Sunday morning going up there to that race. And I just said, God, only in my dreams could I ever envision doing this for a living. Only in my dreams. And so every time I hear that song, I even got it on my playlist on my iPad and my iPhone. And when that starts playing, I don't forward it. I sit there and listen to that cheesy song all the way through because it tells a story. And as you learn in this sport, every person has a story. Mm-hmm. And it's our job to tell. And so, Andrew, yes, I'm working on the Legend series, but every episode has 60 hours minimum editing time. Even the Kenny Bernstein one took 100 hours. Talking 100 hours, and you don't work for 100 hours straight. You grab hours when you can in between breaking stories about, everybody saying Wild Horse Pass coming back. It's staying open. Whether it's going to have an NHRA event again, well, that's the bit sure. So that's what slows me up from getting that. And it's just, and I've been taking on a lot more of the assignments and I'll try and work and make sure we stay within our budget and do it. And, you just do what you have to do. You can either whine or complain or you can make stuff happen. And all my life, I've been making stuff happen. My dad asked me one time when I got caught sneaking in the drag strip, which led to my employment at the drag strip, but within a year, I was making $130 a week as a 13-year-old. I was making $130 a week announcing, doing the track magazine, being race director, and being a photographer. All of those in a weekend at Spartanburg Dragway and picking up trash on Sunday after the race. And I always try to tell I did jokingly. I said, "See, Dad, I told you a life of crime would pay, wouldn't it?" But it was my dad was as honest. I mean, when you look at my dad's name, Honest, his picture was right beside it, and he was brutally honest to a fault. I mean, and he said, "You were willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get into that place." I said, "Dad, I didn't want to lie, and I sure wouldn't cheat anybody, and I surely wouldn't steal. Nobody would give me a chance. Nobody would give me a chance, so I made my own chance." And so that's the motto in this world. Right. When you go in, just because somebody won't give you a chance, you got two choices. You can either accept it and quit, or just like my bracelet says, you probably can't see it. You can prove them wrong.
Exactly.
You can prove to them that a hillbilly, stupid, uneducated person that doesn't even have a high school diploma can build the largest drag racing magazine on the internet. That's what you can do. Or you can quit. And I wasn't raised to be a quitter.
That's right.
So I'm going to tell you what, you can poke the bear, you can prod at him, you can think he's dead, but that'll be the worst mistake you ever make. I promise you that.
Indeed.
I promise you that. And Darren knows my fighting spirit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've seen it. I've seen it up close
Darren
personal.
knows that I'll fight him in a Christian way.
Personal. I've seen it firsthand, Dujanay.
Yeah, I'm sure it ain't no joke.
You know how to fight somebody in a Christian way.
How?
You know how to do that?
How?
You beat the devil out of them. That's what you do.
I should have seen that coming.
Well, you know, it is what it is. Heart attack didn't kill me. COVID didn't kill me. This industry didn't kill me. I'm not going anywhere till God's ready for me to go and my purpose is done. So until then, I'm going to still keep trying to give you the best drag racing magazine and platform there is in this world. That's all I can do.
Yes, sir.
And Bobby, you definitely deserve the flowers.
For letting me come on your show.
This is your show. We're just gatekeepers, man.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I can ask for better gatekeepers than Lee Craft. Man, I know he's out there living the rock star life, but man, what a blessing that guy is. What a blessing all of you is. I even heard from Slam and Sam today. What a blessing he's been through. It's all the whole family, everything. Thanks for all the readers. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for letting a kid who was 12 years old with a dream of being the editor of Superstock and Drag Illustrated, as well as driving a demodified production. Thank you for letting me live that dream. And as far as the forum, it's like quarter mile racing. It ain't coming back. I'm sorry, but there's something about having to spend tens of thousands of dollars to keep the bad people off your server that just kind of spoils the whole fun for you.
Yeah.
But you got Facebook. You got Facebook.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, thank you guys. Hey, you got
Bobby.
Two incredible people coming in. JR Todd, absolutely one of the greatest naturally talented drivers. I knew him back all the way. In fact, I wrote the first press release on his Top Fuel driving endeavors back in 2000. I was his first PR guy. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, nice.
And we even shared fried chicken at a gas station together. So it doesn't.
Best kind of fried chicken there is, buddy.
That's it. That's it. And Justin Ashley had known the kid since he was in diapers. And I remember his dad when he was a mullet wielding pro mod driver, top sportsman, 211 through the grass.
That's pretty awesome.
But hey, if you look around and see that Facebook picture of me back in 1990, I was actually young at one time. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually young.
Pads and all.
A long time.
That was the old school pads. Them big boys.
A lot of people don't realize it, but I've been out here 44 years.
That's crazy.
44 years I've been out here. That's longer than both y'all been alive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm 42.
Way longer than me.
42.
Yep, I've been doing it longer than you've been alive.
Yes, sir.
Guys, thank you. Have a great show.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Nice words from
That was a
the
nice
captain,
surprise.
the owner, senior editor of CompetitionPlus.com, Mr. Bobby Bennett, man. And I meant to tell him, though, kind of ironic, kind of a coincidence that, not much has changed from him on the baseball field to now because, like you said, he was the only white guy on the baseball field. Well, here on the show tonight, he was the only white guy on the show here tonight also. See the parallel?
That was good. That was good there.
But like you mentioned, though, two great guests here tonight on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Our first guest, who should be here in a couple minutes, is your champion from Sonoma, J.R. Todd. 20th win of his career, 11th in Nitro Funny Car, first win since the Gator Nationals in 2021. And Dujane, this was what's really cool, is that back when I first started my YouTube channel, American Hot Rod Entertainment, I didn't even have 100 subscribers yet. Like, I was really small. And guess who did a full hour and a half long interview on a YouTube channel that didn't even have 100 subscribers? And I'm still thankful to this day for that. Guess who that was? J.R. Todd. Yes. That just goes to show what kind of a cool dude he is.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And then, like you said, he gets the win here this weekend. What is it about the Western swing where J.R. Todd just conjures up this magic? You think about it. His first career win, Denver, 2006, on the Western swing. He backs it up with his second win in Sonoma that same season, both over Schumacher. He gets his first win in his return to full-time racing at Denver 2014, gets his first funny car win in Sonoma 2017, and then has a 2-year winless drought, and he gets his first win since Gator National 2021 in Sonoma. It's just something about the Western swing that J.R. Todd and his team are just able to conjure up this magic, and it happened once again this past weekend. And he's next up on our show, man. Can't wait to talk to him.
I can't wait to talk to him too. It's pretty remarkable from where they were early in the season, which I thought they were going to really go on a tear, and the adversity that they've had to go through, but they didn't waver. No infighting as far as we could see, and they come back and get it together here on the Western swing. And at the right time, we're coming right into this short fourth quarter of the regular season, and it's no better time to get hot than right now.
For sure. And like you mentioned, got hot in the Western swing, but semifinal in Norwalk, semifinal at the final race in Denver, got to the final round in Seattle, came up just a little bit short, but finally got it done in Sonoma. Like I said, 20th career win for J.R. Todd, 11th in Nitro Funny Car, first win since the Gator Nationals 2021. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? J.R. Todd is next.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Your 2018 Nitro Funny Car champion and your winner from this past weekend's race in Sonoma, Mr. J.R. Todd. How's it going, J.R.?
Good. Doing really well now that we come off that win there in Sonoma. It definitely changes your overall mood.
And I want to jump right into that. First off, congratulations on the win in Sonoma, 20th career win, 11th in Nitro Funny Car. Like you said, a long losing drought, first win since Gator Nationals 2021. I just said this a second ago. What is it about the Western swing? We're able to just come up with this magic and always have good performances when you need to.
I wish there was some certain formula or magic that it existed, but yeah, like you said, for whatever reason, going back to my rookie year driving with Dexter Todd, we just have had success and on the Western Swing, especially now with Kato Motorsports. I think I've won in all 3 races in Connie's Dragster, and then to win twice there in the funny car. That's really special to do it there in Sonoma and Eric Medlin country. Got to share the winner's circle with him there in 2006. So Sonoma is definitely my favorite track on the tour for so many reasons, and that's right there at the top every time we go there and win.
Now, your car in the beginning of the season, you know, I was in Gainesville. I was like, look, there's no doubt that they're going to come out here and they're going to string together some wins. And the unfortunate thing happens. But I want you to explain of how hard that is to now transition from a car that you guys were familiar with, you guys had a rhythm with, and it showed up in the first race, and you now have to go to a new car. How hard is that to get back that rhythm that you started with a whole new piece of machinery? Because no one car is alike.
Yeah, to back up even further than that, you know, we came into Gainesville testing before the Gator Nationals with a brand new combination, something that we had never run before, different parts and pieces, different race car built by precision built race cars there in Brownsburg, Indiana. Joe Fitzpatrick and Dan Murphy, they built a great piece. And, you know, Todd Smith said even before Gainesville started that this combination is going to take me, you know, probably half the season to figure out. So it's going to take a while before we see all the success that I think we can have. And for whatever reason, it ran really well there in Gainesville, and I feel like we should have won the race there. I feel like I kind of did a bad job of driving there in the final. The thing spun the tires and blew up. But either way, that's behind us. And then we go into Pomona and have those issues that we had there. I mean, had the problem with the primary car there in qualifying, and then you unload the spare car from upstairs, and it's just completely different from the primary car and the setup that we were running. Then had the issues there Sunday, blowing it up. And I don't think people really understand all the stuff that happened there. Trashing 2 cars, all the parts and pieces, 2 bodies. Everything was pretty much brand new up to that point. That it set us back for months. I'm not talking like weeks or a race or 2, like months. Like we probably had no business going to Las Vegas, but I got to give all the credit to my guys. They worked their butts off, you know, getting from Pomona back to the shop in Michigan to get the car and parts and pieces all ready to go to get to Las Vegas. And, you know, we got there and not qualify, and just it definitely humbles you as a driver and as a team to show how tough that funny car is. And I had my lip out for a long time this year, just wondering if we were ever going to get back to our winning ways. When you go 2+ years without winning, you never know if it's going to happen again. And guys like Hagan and Caps and Robert, when they win a lot, they make it look really easy, and it's not easy at all.
Yeah, I mean, in the first 8, your 5 and 6 round win-loss record, you had that DNQ, and now in these last 4 races, starting in Norwalk, your 11 and 2 round win-loss record. You got that runner-up, and of course, you got that win from Sonoma. What a time to get hot when we have this short 4th quarter of the regular season, and we're going to start right into the countdown. Has to make you and your guys feel good, especially all the hard work, staying together, not having the infighting as, you know, things are you're facing adversity. Has to feel real good right now, coming off the win and knowing that, hey, we're on an upward trend.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's definitely the right time of the year to start building momentum and clicking off those round wins and going to the later rounds and hopefully getting race wins and multiple wins. And no better time of year to do that, heading into Indy and the countdown. And you know, that's where you really got to make it count. And, you know, there's some guys that are left from that 2018 championship year. So they never gave up. They know what it's all about. Then there's some brand new guys that have never won a race before. So they've experienced, you know, some highs and lows and getting back to those highs, and to be able to pay them back to win a race. That was all I ever wanted to do. But now I think our goals have changed to let's win some more races and see if we can contend for another championship, which I think we could do. I mean, these guys throughout all the adversity, I mean, we had adversity there in Seattle going to the final round all day long, just had a bunch of issues in the pit area. And then their first round on the starting line, we barely got the thing started to even make the run. So these guys, they never give up. They never let things rattle them. It starts at the top with Todd Smith and Jono. I feel like they set a good example for the guys. And Chris Fortin, the car chief, he does a good job of reeling everybody in, and they all just keep their heads down and dig hard.
Well, Jay, we're for sure going to get into Seattle in just a little bit, but we want to continue on to focus on the win in Sonoma. Just for you, for you guys as a team, I feel like, from Denver to Seattle to Sonoma, you guys were real consistent. Even Norwalk, mid to high 390s. And obviously we're in the hot weather part of the season. Do you think you guys have what it takes? And I think you guys do, because, I mean, you talk about first round of Seattle with that 390, pretty much low ET of the event. But do you think you guys have what it takes when we get to the cooler tracks in the countdown, like a St. Louis or a Reading or a Pomona, to run those, mid to high 80s to contend with the Capps and the Hagens for a championship?
I definitely believe that. I mean, we definitely seem to excel when it's hot out and the tracks are not as gripped up as they are when it's cooler temperatures and overcast and things like that. But going back to earlier this year in Gainesville, we were able to throw it out and make some good runs there. So I think that we can do that. But first, you have to go down the track to be able to learn how to do those things. That's something that we were struggling with earlier this season. Now the consistency is coming around. I think Todd and Jono are just doing a good job making fine little changes with it. And I think we basically told ourselves once we were going to the semis there in Bristol and then Norwalk that keep going to later rounds, like it's gonna move us into final rounds and then set ourselves up for wins. And eventually that's what happened. I thought it was gonna happen in Seattle. It seemed like we could do no wrong, and then just Wilkerson stepped up and took it from us there in the final. But going into Sonoma, I felt really confident that we had a car capable of winning. We definitely don't seem like we show our strengths in qualifying, which is something that we need to work on a little bit. But either way, if we got to win from the bottom half, it doesn't matter to me as long as we turn on win lights.
You mentioned the runner-up in Seattle, and I just want to get your perspective, as a driver. What are the emotions like when that happens, when you're on this long losing drought that's over 2 years and you get to the final round, pretty much have a great car and pretty much as the favorite going into the final, and you come up just that short? What is the emotions like after that?
Ah, man, it's like the ultimate kick in the gut. You go that far, like your emotions are so high, your adrenaline's going, you're pumped up, ready to do it. And then, like maybe I was too pumped up because it seemed like we had a long light. And I'm up there flinching. It seems like every time you flinch, the light comes on and you're not ready. And next thing you know, Wilkerson drills you. But either way, I mean, the numbers don't show what he really ran and what he put together there in the final. I think it was going to be really hard for us to beat him anyways. I mean, our car slowed down. It didn't run what we expected it to. But like I said, we didn't really let that get us down, and had a little team meeting there after the final and told the guys to just stay focused and dig deep, and it'll happen soon. And sure enough, it happened less than a week later.
That's badass.
So I thought it was pretty funny and really nice. A certain someone thought it was really cool to have his little bout on social media. And Mr. J.R. Todd was real quiet. Then he comes out and just throws a haymaker and gets a win. How good does that feel to not only say what you said, which I 100% agree, but also come back and get a W?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to, I feel like, silence a lot of people. Just let the race car do the talking, and wins cure and fix a lot of things. And the reason that I said what I said, because I'm taking up my sponsors, especially
Right.
DHL. They're a big worldwide company that happen to spend money in NHRA drag racing when we need more of those companies in the sport. And I'm not going to go knock anybody's sponsor or anything like that, whether it's a joke or not. I feel like companies like that, they don't take that as a laughing matter. And I knew that, and I took it personally. So you can't let those things distract you. You got to put it behind you and be the bigger person. Like I said, let the race car do the talking. And I felt like ours definitely talk there on Sunday in Sonoma.
Yeah, I thought that was real classy. Definitely the way to go. And I agree with you. You want to take up for your sponsors. These guys spend hard-earned money for you guys to be able to race, and they deserve to be represented well. And if somebody takes a shot at my sponsor, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah. And so obviously this is just all in fun, like, so obviously, with your commercial, the clown car, we had Alex Laughlin on last week and he gave us side of the story and everything like that. And, one of the reasons why we have you on this week is because obviously you're the winner and we want to get your side of the story. So just the choice of words in the interview, were you wanting to say clown, or was that the first thing that came to your head, or what was kind of the choice of words with clown? Because I thought that was pretty ironic. I thought it was pretty funny.
Honestly, like I don't follow anything he puts on social media. I mean, I feel like social media is a monster. I have to do it because it's so sponsor oriented and generated now that's what they look at, and that's where also you get to kind of show your personality. But if it were me, there would be no social media, and we would all have flip phones because I feel like that was a much better time in life. So yeah, I don't know. I only know what people send me or tell me. So his side of the story, this and that. I mean, I feel like he's had an issue for some time now. I know he had a problem Sunday in Pomona, driver intros, that we didn't hug it out before we raced first round. Like, I'm not out here to be everybody's friend. I'm out here to do my job, what I was hired to do, and drive a race car. Myself and Sean Langdon and a very few percent of us got hired to drive because the owners felt like we could contend for wins and championships and what have you, and could represent them well and race the car and not have to bring a boatload of money or anything like that, which I don't have. That's why I stay so focused on the job at hand, driving that Nitro Funny car, because I want to make everybody at Kato Motorsports happy, all our sponsors happy. And if I don't hold up my end, then they're going to go find somebody else to replace me that can do a better job. So yeah, sometimes I'm not the most outgoing or social butterfly, but that's because I'm focused on, bigger things, and that's doing my job.
No, for sure. And I said this last week on the show. From what I've seen in interviews and in social media and everything like that, and just a few times I've talked to you, I could just tell, like, you're very passionate in what you do. Like, you love driving a nitro car. This is your whole life. And, when somebody like you said, takes a dig at your sponsor, you're going to take exception to that. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. This is, like I said, this is your job. This is what you're passionate about. You're an intense driver. You're not out here to make friends. And like I said, when somebody takes a dig at your sponsor, it's a problem. So I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Now, how hard? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, that was like I said, that was 2 weeks ago. Now that's behind us. Now we're ready to celebrate this win. Now we got a week off to enjoy it. But once we get back to Topeka, it's going to be game on and then back to business and trying to win there and redeem ourselves from last season. But I feel like we just need to keep riding this momentum and see where it'll take us.
That's what I was going to get at. Now that you're coming in, you got some time off to think about it. After coming off this win, and really, like I said, I think the work started in Norwalk. So you guys were ascending into this win. What will you do on your off time? Do you take a step back and kind of woo-saw, get your mind right, and come back to go to Topeka? Or is it still a workman mentality where, like a basketball player or a football player, they're in the gym, they're always working. You may be still working on your lights. You may be doing this or that. What does J.R. Todd do after this win going into Topeka with this downtime?
I mean, first it's, doing interviews with guys like you two and getting to enjoy talking about, winning races, because it's been so long since I've done that you kind of forget to take time to enjoy those things. And also, I've been gone from home for the last 3 weeks, so I've been eating like crap and not working out or anything like that. So I need to get back in better shape and, go out in the garage and work on my reaction times and things like that. But also being here in Florida, I might go to the beach for a couple of days and woo-saw, like you said. Just, you can't let all these things build up in your head. And I feel like when we were doing so bad earlier this year, I was getting so angry at myself and just the situation, the things that were going on, that you got to kind of take a step back and realize that you get to drive a nitro funny car for a living, and there's worse things in life you could be doing. So just a bad day at driving a funny car is still, I feel like, a better day at a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? So when I'm mad and angry at things like that, it's because I expect better of myself, and I'm out there to win. So when you go 2+ years, it definitely starts to wear on you. And anybody that's close to me knows that yeah, sometimes I let my frustrations go a little too far, but a win, like I said, it cures and fixes all that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it shows a person that cares. You know, nobody barks or bats an eye when Tom Brady goes off because things don't go well or didn't go well in a certain game or a certain play or whatever the case may be. And I think that it's natural when you're not doing well and you care about something, it's going to show, and you're going to have something to say about it. Sometimes it's good, you know, you're going to be a little dejected, but then you get refocused. And what a better way to get refocused than other than to just win. I'm sure that takes a lot of weight, a lot of things off of your shoulders. And now you can kind of breathe a little bit, knowing that, yeah, I can still do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've started to think there's some kind of curse going on with us at Paletta Motorsports, because it's been so long since all of us won. And, you know, getting number 20, I was tied with, you know, one of my best friends, Brandon Bernstein, at 19 wins. I'm like, man, I'm never going to break this tie with Brandon. Like, maybe that's some kind of curse. So to finally pass my bro and wins, that's awesome as well. But yeah, like you say, just, you know, got to ride this momentum while we can. And that's what people have been telling me for the last 2 years. Like, hey, you know, this comes and goes in waves. I'm like, well, that wave has been crashing on us for 2 years now. And like, it hurts. And I'm getting sick of it. So now it's nice to finally like get our head above water and try to paddle out there and catch a big one.
Absolutely.
And so obviously, JR, you're the driver of the DHL Toyota Supra, which is one of the best looking bodies. I mean, the best looking body out there. The Toyota Supra is just beautiful. But also, I remember you kind of testing out a go-kart type of steering wheel this year. Have you still been doing that? And if so, how's that been going for you?
Yeah, we're still running the MPI wheel that Max Pappas, you know, helped design. You know, I had a little bit of say so. They started out with some 3D printed wheels and sitting in the car and just seeing what I thought, you know, with different widths and thicknesses and things like that. So it's kind of like, I guess you'd say like a go-kart or an IndyCar type looking wheel, but still similar to the butterfly design, but changed it up a little bit. The angle is a little different, where I have more leverage steering the thing. And, you know, a butterfly steering wheel on a funny car is kind of like driving a semi truck or a bus, you know, like you get to steer it and like your arms get maxed out and that thing's got a hole out. You got the thing cranked and it ain't turning anymore. So we wanted to try and fix that to make it better, to where it's almost like I'm driving a dragster now, with the wheel kind of laid more flat to me and not rolled out so much. So it's been a work in progress, and we're still, you know, fine tuning it, but I love the thing.
Has there been any other drivers kind of like maybe thinking about following suit and, you know, testing out one of those?
I know that Cruz tried one out early this year. I think maybe Caps have one, but like I said, we're still kind of in the R&D stages of it, just getting all the fine tuning worked out of it. But yeah, a lot of people don't like to, you know, have the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I mean, I feel like you got to kind of progress and things. Also, the butterfly wheel has been around since the 60s basically, but there's nothing wrong with it. We just want to make it better than what it is. So that's what we're working on doing.
What are some of the pluses that you've found that have helped you as a driver with this new wheel that you've been testing?
Certain things, like when it puts a hole out, these things in a funny car, the exhaust provides so much downforce, and I feel like I can get a better handle on that with this wheel. And also, I mean, the race car itself that Joe and Dan built, I think it works as well. So I can't say if it's all the steering wheel either, because they built a phenomenal race car. I think the combination of those two together just make it easier for me to drive, which, you know, funny cars are not easy to drive by any means. That's what makes them cool. They're so challenging, and they don't do the same thing every time. Not that a dragster is easy to drive by any means. It's just that funny cars are nasty, dirty, heavy, you know, not as much downforce. The engine's in front of you, and a lot of people think we're stupid for driving them, but they're a lot of fun.
Now I have a question. I always want to know this because I've heard Matt and Hagan in interviews say that sometimes he can like see himself or see the car past the light, like he sees it almost like in slow motion. Do you kind of see or do you kind of have that kind of vision as well, especially at the top end? Like, how do you see the fact that your light came on when there's so much going on, especially with a funny car? There's so much going on from that to start to 1,000 foot. Do you sometimes, are you able to see things easily?
I will say you can definitely tell the difference between a haul ass run and a moderate run. But yes, over time, I feel like your mind kind of slows it down for you to where it's not in slow motion, but it slows it down enough to where you can process what's going on to where you see the finish line coming up. So get the chutes out before the finish line and then step off the throttle at the finish line, look up at the scoreboard in time to see what it ran, or look over in the wall and see if your wind light's on. So yeah, there are things like that I can relate to Matt, but they're still fast. And it takes one little thing to throw all that off for you where say tire shake and you got to pedal it or something like that to where it kind of like throws off your rhythm and then you're trying to catch up to it. So once you're behind it, you're never going to catch up to it. For any young driver out there, like, if you think you're going to catch up, you might as well just step off because it took me, half the season when I first started driving a top fuel car before my mind slowed it down for me. And then same thing going to the funny car from the Dragster. It probably took half of 2017 to where, all right, now I need to realize that I'm steering it too much or not enough. It's weird how your mind, works like that. And something that's so quick and accelerating that fast at over 100 miles an hour in less than a second that your mind can slow that down for you.
Yeah, that's insane.
JR, I want to back up to Sonoma in just a little bit. And the reason why is because I fully thought that, with how hyped that Friday night session was, and we just know from the past that you can throw down big time Friday night at Sonoma. I thought we were going to see the quickest times of the season. I was predicting anywhere from a 383 to a 385 that Friday night, and it didn't happen. I would say both Nitro, Funny Car, and Top Fuel kind of struggled Friday night. What do you think was kind of the reasons for that? Do you think it was just all the hype around it? People were just trying too hard, or was it the track? Or what do you think of the reason was for that?
I mean, typically when you see, I'd say, or at least 99% of the funny cars not go down the track, that not everybody got stupid at the same time. Like these crew chiefs are really smart and they get a lot of input from the weather stations and the computer, and we get a lot of input from the Toyota guys help us at the track as well. So just a combination of, the weather change and the track prep itself probably wasn't what we thought it was going to be. So that's part of the issue. Then we sat up there in the lanes for, I think, an hour from the time that we got called up there to make the run until we actually ran. So once things like that happen, there's a lot of things that can change with the weather and the track and the tune-up factor to where you can't make enough changes to, you could make changes, go out there and slow down. Alexis was the only car that went down the track. So I'm sure that Dell and Nikki by that point said, well, let's just slow it way down so we can go down the track and get 3 points here. I doubt they were trying to run slower in Q2 than what they did in Q1. So when those situations happen, I hate it for the fans. They spend a lot of money to come out and watch us put on a good show. And Sonoma, historically in the past, like you said, conditions like that have been really quick. I remember, Robert and Hagan hauling us there in the past. So once again, it's like going to the final round. You're all pumped up and ready to go, think you're going to win. And Friday night, you're all jacked up, ready to go to haul ass, and goes out there and shakes your brains out. The parachutes fall off before you get to the finish line. So it's just one of those instances, like, don't count your chickens before they hatch. But yeah, like what happened Friday night, I feel like that shouldn't happen to us in qualifying. And we need to do everything possible, with the racetracks and the teams to make sure that we put on the best shows for the fans.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And so, final question for me, JR. Jagerton Central says we have to ask for the inside story. No, not that one. It's the wrong one. It's right here, actually. I'm sorry. Ask JR, will the Nomex effect ever be brought back? And what I kind of want to add to that is there's a big announcement tomorrow between Pro, Drag Illustrated, and Steve Torrance, Tony Stewart Racing. Just your thoughts on, if you have any inside stuff of what's going to happen tomorrow, your thoughts on that. And with the Nomex effect, you and Sean Langdon always, kind of throw out ideas of how NHRA can kind of improve and kind of spice it up. Is there anything you can think now that NHRA can do to kind of add some flavor to the schedule or just at these events or anything like that?
Oh man, I feel like Sean and I got a list of suggestions or ideas a mile long. That's why we started the Nomex effect to begin with. But looking back, are we going to bring it back? No, probably not. I moved to Florida and he was always gone bracket racing, so we just really didn't have time to keep pumping it out as much as people wanted us to. And it was fun while we did it. And nowadays, the way the world is and social media is, we would be in a lot of trouble doing it. And it's probably best that we don't. And yeah, tomorrow's announcement, you guys probably know more about it than I do. I just know that there's an announcement coming tomorrow about some nitro teams and what have you. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know a whole lot about it, or else I would tell you what I think about it. But I guess we'll just have to wait and find out at the same time.
And my last question, which I've heard this from a lot of people, and Drag Racing Central is one that's talked about it. What would you think if they went in qualifying and averaged the times in qualifying, and then your average was your qualifying number, and that would indicate where the ladder would fall?
That would be pretty interesting, especially with all of our races are during the day. We don't race at night. And the nighttime run is typically your best run of the weekend as far as running your best time. So it doesn't really mean a whole lot. It just gets you set up for a good spot on the ladder. So I don't know. I wouldn't be against it. I think a lot of the average fans don't really understand how qualifying works with getting 3 or 4 attempts. I don't know. I feel like we have to do something different eventually to stay up with the current changes and all of different forms of racing. I feel like we're still kind of old school minded in drag racing. We need to evolve and get with the younger generation on some things, but also not get too carried away on, whether it's street outlaws type stuff like that. And I see kind of the direction that NHRA is going with things like the call outs and what have you. Then they're trying, the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty deal to try and spark some excitement during the qualifying with the fans, which I think is good. As long as we can keep the fans engaged and we put on a good show, I'm all for that. But also, there's a lot of us that are going to go out there and pedal the thing 10 times on Saturday to win $10,000 just to put on a good show, because you're going to tear up a lot more than that. But I see the path that they're going. Just hopefully there's a lot bigger and better things in the future to come.
Yeah.
See, Dujane, I would love to see that list that him and Sean have. I would just
Me too.
Just get a glimpse. I would love to,
because it's good.
Yeah,
them two. It's good.
Is when he calls, he's on the phone for like an hour and a half. We're just back and forth on how we can make things better. But no, Sean's a great dude, and he's just like me. He's extremely passionate about the sport. He wants the sport to be better. We all want the sport to be better. It's something that we've grown up doing since we were kids. He's been around it longer than I have with his dad drag racing, and we got started racing junior dragsters around the same time. So I feel like we've seen a lot from the time we were kids till now, to where I remember watching guys like Kenny Bernstein and John Forrest when I was a kid, and those are my heroes. And the drag racing to me was the greatest thing on earth back then. Watching it on TNN and all that stuff back then. I miss those times. I guess it's just a different time now, but I would like for kids to look at us that way someday, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Well, JR, man, thank you for your time here tonight. And congratulations once again on the win this past weekend in Sonoma. 20th career win, 11th in Nitro Funny Car. And great to just see your team on the trajectory that you guys are on. Like I mentioned, semifinals in Norwalk, semifinals in Denver, final in Seattle, and you get the win finally in Sonoma. And a shout out to your whole team as well. Sean Langdon, a few semifinals here lately. Doug Coletta, back-to-back final rounds in Denver and Sonoma. So great to see Coletta Motorsports as a whole on the rise.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I definitely think the dragsters are knocking on the door for a win here soon. I thought that maybe Dougie and I were going to get close to doubling up there in Denver or even Seattle, but it's going to happen one of these days. And when it does, I don't think the racetrack's going to be ready for that party.
Mosh pit galore. Mosh pit galore, man.
Enjoy that weather in Florida, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Jar. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Todd, your funny car champion from the 2023 Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals. And guess what, Dujanay? That was our funny car champion from Sonoma. Guess who's next?
Our top fuel champion?
Our top field champion from Sonoma. And not just top field champion, but points leader, Justin Ashley. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Ashley is next. If I can cut the commercial.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Dujanay, that's a bad man right there. You see that? That's a bad Justin Ashley.
Oh, I know. That's my guy.
Welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate the time.
So obviously, you're actually going to be joined by the president of Kato Fastenings, one of your sponsors, Al. He'll be joining us in just a second. But before we bring him on, let's kind of just go over the win in Sonoma. Well, just your season overall. 5 wins so far as we head into the final few races of the regular season. I got to ask, great season so far for you. I think you've won 5 Mission Foods challenges so far. Also, for you and your team, are you just kind of like wondering, like, man, let's get to Indy and the countdown now so we can start racing for the championship?
Yeah, we're definitely excited about it. It's been an amazing year so far. I think the most important thing to reflect on is really how good the competition is this year. Going into 2022 and throughout the year, we knew the top fuel field was going to be incredibly deep and incredibly talented, and somehow, some way, it got even better in 2023. So to be able to collect 5 wins in only 12 races and then additional 5 Mission Foods Challenge wins really speaks volumes of our entire Phillips Connect team. I mean, it's been really incredible, and the work started in the offseason for us. We had a good year last year, but we knew we needed to make changes. We knew we needed to step up and improve to compete in a high level this year. So it took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, time, energy, and effort from our whole team in the offseason. You can kind of see the fruits of our labor start to come together now, but it's a long year. And like you said, with the format the way it is now, I'm not saying I'm rushing it, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting to Indy and beyond to begin that playoff format.
And a great birthday present for your dad as well, getting to win in Sonoma. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. And I appreciate Alan Reinhardt and Joe Costello giving him some love, showing him some birthday shout outs. That was his birthday. He said it was his goal. He wanted his gift to be a win and a Wally and have ourselves and our team race Antron Brown and his team in the finals. And sure enough, that's what happened. So I spoke with my dad after. I still got him a little something for his birthday, but I feel a little bit better about it because I think that was pretty much the best gift that we could have got him.
Most definitely. 25-5, in your first 8-9 races. Personally, even though Clay Milliken was a thorn in your side for the Western Swing, you go out first round in that first one, second round of the next one, both by Clay, and then you go 4-0 here last week. I think the 2 losses, although I know you would like to win, but it's kind of one of those things like in football and basketball, especially basketball. You get hot too early, and then all of a sudden you cool off at the wrong time. But I think that little lull is going to help you continue to trend upwards towards the championship. Now, you guys been winning all season long, but this win and the way it was done, tell me about how that is going to build when the adversity gets even stronger, especially when you go into the U.S. Nationals, but for sure in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a great question. And you said it. You do have to get hot at the right time. It's the same thing as any other sport, football, baseball, basketball, where you want to get hot at the end of the regular season and then really hit your stride during the playoffs. So, look, we know it's a long year and we've had some of these ups and downs, but yes, that builds character. You have to go through some of that adversity to become stronger as a team. And that's what's helped us. Those type of events and the way we've responded has helped us gain experience, learn. And even in some of those races where we've lost early, the worst thing that we could do is just sit there and rest on our laurels. Instead, we went right back to work, took that data, took that information that we get from Toyota, and then apply it to the next races and the following races after that. So it's going to be good for us in the long run, but it's healthy because we know that and we understand that. So we have a great approach going into each and every race we expect to win. But when we go through those struggles, when we lose in the first round, when we lose in the second round, whenever it may be, we know that it's going to be okay because we're going to do the right thing by each other, which is to learn, take what we learn, and apply it forward to the next race and beyond.
And like we've said so far, 5 wins this year, 5 Mission Food Challenge wins. You're the points leader, and this battle between you and Steve Torrence has been great the past couple of races. You are definitely one of the championship favorites going into the countdown. But I got to ask you, is there anything in particular you and your team would like to pinpoint or kind of just clean up or button up before we get to the countdown to make sure you're in tip-top shape once the countdown starts?
Well, I think just consistency. And I think, sometimes where people feel like we've lacked in consistency, look, it's always a reflection on us. There are no excuses, but sometimes when we go out in the first round or there's not a consistent pattern of stacking round wins, it's also reflective of the competition because the competition out there is so good. And a lot of times you're going to face almost what feels like a final round, rounds 1 through 4 on Sundays. You almost have to be perfect just to have a chance to win on Sunday. So I think maybe cleaning up some of that consistency and stacking round wins race by race and not necessarily following that, finals or win or nothing type of approach. But at the same time, it's tough to necessarily pinpoint that just on ourselves. It's also reflective of the competition. So if there's one thing in particular, I suppose you could say it's that, but everybody top to bottom, and I mean Mike Green, Tommy DeLago, Dustin Davis, the Maynard family, our partners, Phillips Connect, Toyota, Kato, we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. We all want the same thing. We want a world championship and success on and off the racetrack. So that's what I would point to. But at the same time, I really think we've accomplished a lot this year, and we're certainly heading in the right direction.
You mentioned your sponsor Kato just a second ago, and we're going to be joined by the president of Kato in just a little bit. Al, we're going to bring him on just shortly. But one more question before we do that, and a very serious question right here. Andrew says, ask Justin if there's any concern with what happened to Antron's wing or was just a freak thing that happened. I know you work closely with Antron Brown. Have you heard anything, or is anything in the works to try to make sure that doesn't happen again? Because a pretty scary situation that happened Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it was concerning. It was concerning just because we love Antron, right? And we have a relationship with Antron and that team. And it was certainly not a concern because that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the best driver in the world right now. And Brian Karate and Mark Oswald and Brad Mason and that team take safety very seriously. So there was never a concern in any regard that way. So you feel comfortable with the people that are there. The concern was, wow, this can actually happen. You don't actually think about it until it happens. I don't know of anything that's necessarily in the works right now, but I can guarantee you this, something will be in the works. And, God was with him and he was safe. And I think this is going to turn out to be better in the future because I think something and some kind of safety or innovative technology will come along from this experience and make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. So I know that I don't really know anything that they're working on now, but I do know that in the future, I'm sure we're all going to learn from this and put something together that's going to be positive and turn this really into a positive experience for everybody.
For sure. And, obviously, things go very wrong when a wing comes off a top fuel car, and that thing was turned to the right pretty bad. And like the fact that Antron was able to keep that thing under control just goes as a testament to show how great of a driver he was. Cause that was a pretty scary situation.
Yeah, it was incredible. Just happy that he's okay and everyone was fine. And, those guys over there are so experienced. They know what we're doing. And I was glad that there was an experienced driver behind the wheel because the dude wasn't even fazed by it, like you said. So it speaks volumes of the talent that he has and the overall feel that he has for the race car.
Well, like we said, we're also here. Oh, you got to do, Janae.
Oh, I was just going to say everybody has a different approach on the starting line. And, consistency there can be difficult. But it seems like you have ice in your veins and it's like clockwork. You know what I mean? You don't, because I feel like if I was a driver, it'd be difficult because you don't want to jump the gun and you feel like you might be going too fast. How do you keep yourself focused to just keep that consistency going and trust yourself that, hey, I know I'm going to hit somewhere in between here and here, and I'm not going to turn that thing red?
Yeah, it's constantly a work in progress, both physically and mentally, to make sure that I'm steady and I'm prepared. And it's not always perfect, but I try and stay relatively consistent, within a grouping. And first of all, it's a combination of car and team, because if we're not running well, all that stuff's irrelevant. And no matter how quickly I hit the throttle, if the car doesn't react well, the reaction time and the numbers aren't going to show up well. But in terms of an approach, everyone is different. I don't get super pumped up. I don't get super excited, not too high, not too low. And what's worked for me is I am never, ever, the cardinal sin for me is when you start worrying about what's happened in the other lane. So whether it's Steve Torrance, whether it's Antron Brown, whether it's the number 1 qualifier, the 16 qualifier, as far as I'm concerned, I do not care who's in the other lane. As far as I'm concerned, sometimes I feel like I don't even know who's in the other lane when I'm racing. I don't change the way I stage. I do the same thing each and every time, no matter who's in the opposite lane. And for me, that's an approach that's worked well so far. It's something I learned from Antron Brown, something I've learned from my father. Just continue to do the same thing and, become detached really from the outcome. Just focus on the approach and don't become emotionally involved. And essentially, when you do that, you end up just racing yourself and continue to get better and continue to improve. So, that's always been the approach for myself. And really, that's always been the approach for our team.
Dujane, there's 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Justin Ashley leaving first. Those are the 3 things guaranteed.
For sure.
Not always, guys. Not always. Thankfully, I have a good car to make up for it sometimes.
Like I said, we're also here to support your sponsor, Kato. You mention them all the time in your interviews. So let's now bring on the president of Kato, Mr. Al. How's it going, man? You're muted.
Sorry about that, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
Hey, how's it going? Glad to have you on. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the Competition Plus Power Hour. And like I said, you're the president of Kato. For people who aren't familiar, just gotta talk about what Kato is and how long you've been working with Justin Ashley and their whole team.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. So Kato Fastening Systems, we manufacture different fasteners. Our core business is actually aerospace fasteners. So we make product. A lot of mechanics and people that work on cars know what helicoils are, and we make a version of a helicoil called a tangless sensor. It's something that we invented back in the late 80s, early 90s. We launched it, and it's been gaining market share year after year, and now it's the choice for aerospace companies. In fact, we have our inserts, in satellites and in on the International Space Station, and you can even the Mars rover has our inserts in there. So we've been making aerospace fasteners for a long time, and then we got into the automotive side of things by making more commercial grade product, and we came out with a product a few years back, and this is when we actually hooked up with Justin, called Lock One. And it's kind of like a wire nut that you put at the end of a standard assembly. So you just take a nut and a bolt and you put our Lock One on there, and it prevents it from loosening free. It's a real simple product to put on. It looks really simple, no special tools required. It was tested, NES testing for vibration. I mean, it passed all the tests and exceeded all expectations. And so it's a product that's been really successful for us. And Justin has really been a big part of that, because it really helped us promote the product, especially in the automotive motorsports sector as well.
I'll tell you what, totally out of my expertise. Dujane has a lot of experience with this, so take it away, man. Take it away, Dujane.
I got giddy when I saw you guys were going to be on. I know exactly what you guys do. First of all, I wish we had the tangless inserts because they're the most difficult thing to do, especially if you're working on a small part. I know I was head of the MRAP program, which was it was a camera used on the Humvee to be able to see, overturned dirt where there might be IEDs. As an assembler, I hated tanks. Okay, you got to take magnets, you got to do all that. I saw all of the equipment that you guys have as far as installing those types of inserts. Beautiful equipment. I wish we had it when I was in the machine shop. But definitely looks like you guys do and have some of the best product in the business.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And from someone who's actually used the product, knows the difficulties associated with the standard helicoil, the tanged insert. Mm-hmm. They can appreciate the tangless one. So thank you very much. That's really kind of you to say. We worked really hard to make it a successful product. And it was an uphill battle. Everybody was familiar with the tanged inserts. They used them for decades. So, for a new guy to come in and try to sell them on something different, how people are opposed to change a lot of times. And so it was an uphill battle. But once they try it and they see it for themselves, how easy it is to install. If you need to take it out, if you need to adjust it, how easily that can be. And more importantly, you don't damage your part when you take them out, or if you have to adjust them, you're not going to damage anything that the insert's going into. And that's critical.
Indeed. Especially when you're dealing with aerospace parts. Also like you to kind of explain some of the kits you guys have as far as being able to have those type of gauges where if you damage a thread, you can use that. You have a kit that has a plethora of different types of those dies and taps. Could you kind of speak on those little things that you guys sell in kits?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So we actually, we sell both tang and tangless inserts. We sell mostly tangless, but the automotive has always been more towards the tang side of the product line. So we actually have a division in California called Thread Kits Company. They're a division of Kato, and they focus on the tanged thread repair kits. It's the stuff that you can buy, online. You can buy them at your local hardware store. But we didn't want to just offer the same kinds of products that everybody else did. And so we launched a couple years ago, about 2 years ago, I think it was in 2021, we launched a line of Pro Kits. And it's the world's first tangless MRO thread repair kit. And it has everything you need in the kit. It has a production grade installation tool. There's no plastic parts. So you go to Pep Boys or one of the other chains and you buy a thread repair kit, it's going to have plastic components. You won't find any of that in the Kato Pro Kits. So it's a production grade, nickel plated installation tool. So it's going to last forever. And it has the STI tap that you need to tap the thread. It has a drill bit. You got to drill it first and then you tap it. And then it has 3 different lengths of inserts. And so depending on what you're trying to repair, you have different options. And so each kit has everything you need for that thread size to not just to repair it, but then now you have a permanent kit that can be in your toolbox, forever. And then you just replace, the inserts as you use them up.
All right, guys. I know I have some of my guys that still work in the machine shop there in Florida, Fort Walton Machining and DRS. So you guys heard all the spiel. You know what you got to do. Tell them where they can go, Al, to buy this stuff.
Yeah, so you can go to katofastening.com. And if you want to purchase online, you can go to threadkits.com. And everything's right there. It's really simple to use, and all the information is a lot of technical information on the KatoFastening.com website. So if you need drilling or tapping information or just technical articles about galling and all kinds of other stuff, it's loaded with information to help the users out.
Yeah, that your guys' info and all that is second to none. I've never seen that before on a website. Very, very good stuff.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
And so just final question for me. Obviously, like you say, you started in the aerospace and then transitioned to automotive, now into drag racing with Justin Ashley. What was it, about Justin Ashley, Mike Ashley, and his team that, that attracted you guys to want to work with them and be in the sport of NHRA drag racing?
That's an excellent question, Darren. Thank you for asking that. It's funny. So I'm a motorcycle guy. I love motorcycles. I coach, MSF rider coach, and I coach it. So we actually, the first time we ever sponsored a motorsport team, it was a motorcycle team. And, we wanted to get the Kato name out there in the automotive motorsports industry. And I met Justin along with Rich Bailey, who works with Justin at the PRI, the Performance Racing Industry Show. Was it 2019, Justin?
Yeah, 2019 already. Yep.
Right. I think it was just before COVID, right?
Yep.
And it was Justin's. It was going to be his first year, like in drag racing, and it wasn't even a full season. It was, it was I don't remember how many races it was, but it was a partial season, and we all had dinner. It was Justin's birthday. I didn't know it at the time.
That's right.
But during dinner, somebody told me it was his birthday, and so here's this young guy, really professional, well-spoken, very articulate. And we had a great conversation. We hit it off. And, I was like, you know what? I wasn't really looking at getting into NHRA, sponsorship, but I met Justin. I'm like, this is a good avenue. This is something that we're not doing right now. It's a totally different group from motorcycles, and the vibration and the power of a top fuel racer is incredible. So if we have Justin promoting, the Kato Lock 1 at the time we were trying to promote, I was like, I can't think of anybody better to do that. And so, so we signed up, and we've been with Justin since that first year. And he's been a great ambassador for Kato. As you guys mentioned earlier, he mentions Kato when he does his interviews, when he wins races, the interview at the end of the race and the winner's interview, he mentions Kato. So you can't ask for better than that. And the fact that he's been successful, that's just icing on the cake.
And just throwing it out there, the reason why I always remember Kato is because Justin in his interviews always puts a lot of emphasis on the A. He says Kato. He says, it's Kato. I like
Guys,
it.
Well, you have to realize it's part of it is the New York accent, right? It depends on how you say things. So the Kato, you hear the A in there, but
I like it.
I appreciate the kind words, Alan. A lot of people, it's funny, they obviously see the performance on the racetrack, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is without the business side of racing, there is no performance on the racetrack. Right. And it started, like Al said, with companies like Kato in 2019, where, they had to take a step. I had to work with companies like Al, who I was very fortunate took a chance on us and believed in us. And from a driver side, from a team ownership side, it's very important to work with people and products that you can trust, that are of the highest level of professionalism, and that are really elite level products. So for us as a team, we feel fortunate, and I value our relationship with Al, and I value our relationship with Kato, not only on the racetrack, but off the racetrack and professionally and personally as well. So we're very grateful for all that they've done and, their involvement in NHRA drag racing as a whole.
Well, Justin, your class act, it's kind of easy for sponsors and for individuals to want to latch on to what you do. We talk a lot, and I've told you this, but nobody works harder. Your professionalism is second to none, and there's no reason or no question or any type of thing why they would not want to come on and work with Justin Ashley.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. But look, I mean, you guys know, I'm not trying to deflect, but you got to surround yourself with good people.
For sure.
You really do. You have to, on and off the racetrack. We have a really good group of guys at the racetrack, and we have a really good group of partners like Kato off the racetrack. So when you combine all that together, it usually leads to a high level of performance. So that's why we've had a lot of success that we're having. And occasionally, like weekends like this where you win, and like Al said, it's a great bonus. But when you could do wheelies like that every round and watch the car go all the way up like Larry Dixon back in the day and sit back down, that makes for some good Nielsen ratings and some good TV, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I was yelling. My wife was asking me, what was that? I was like, you just wheel stand it again.
It's a fun ride, guys. It's a fun ride. I think you're going down there, and the longer it's up there, you're like, oh, eventually this thing better come down. It better come down. But it has, and they have the weight distribution aligned perfectly. So, that's one of the things I think that stood out from this year is how much the fans have really enjoyed that aspect of it. It's kind of been a cool throwback thing that we have going on.
It is.
Hey, Al, do you get out to the racetrack at all often?
Not as often as I'd like. Last time I was out was last year. You guys were at NHRA was at Richmond.
Okay.
They didn't come this year. I think they're going to be in Charlotte, so we're going to try to make it out to Charlotte. That's going to be the closest one to us.
Awesome.
And then we have our group in California, which make it out to every Sonoma race. They're big fans of Justin's, and so anytime NHRA is out there, they're always there. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm based here in LA area, Inglewood, Orange County, all around here. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so our facility there is in Gardena.
Oh yes, 10 minutes from me. Yeah, that's real close. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Amazing. Awesome.
That is.
Any final thoughts, Dujane?
No, man, it's been a pleasure. It took me back to my days in the machine shop world. I got giddy once I really dove in. I was like, man, I know this stuff. This is really cool. And it was really nice talking with you, Al. And I really hope that people latch on to what you guys continue to latch on to what you guys have. Yeah. Because, man, I really wish we had what you guys had when I was back working in the machine shop.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate that. It's really kind of you to say.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, also, thank you, Al, for what you do for the Justin Ashley racing team and drag racing as a whole. And Justin, congratulations on your win this past weekend at Sonoma, and much success to you in the future. And go after that championship, man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Sure. That's the plan. If anybody has any questions about Kato, obviously, like Al said, visit KatoFastening.com. But you can also shoot me a message via social media, and we can obviously get you set up with the right people. But I really appreciate the time. Thank you guys for having both of us on tonight.
Yeah, thank you again, guys.
All right, take care.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Man, Dujane, what another great episode of the Competition Plus Power Hour. And man, I learned something new about you all the time. Never knew that you worked in a machine shop, man. What can't you do?
I worked in a machine shop for about 8 years. Like I came up through the ranks, started out in shipping and receiving, moved over to assembly. That's how I knew about all those types of fasteners and the tools that they sell. And then I went from there to inventory, and then I went from there to being a quality assurance inspector. Did that for about 5 years. So yeah, man, it was fun. I would go back, but I would probably go back into the automotive.
Oh shoot.
So yeah, a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Awesome. But before we get out of here, though, Dujane, I want to get your thoughts because, like I said, a lot of drag racing news happened this past weekend. Excuse my contact messed up my eyes. The closing of Heartland Motorsports Park obviously has been around since 1989. A lot of history has happened there at Heartland Motorsports Park. Just your thoughts on the closing and their final race coming up in a few weeks.
It's tough, being 42. You've seen a lot of cool races and a lot of nostalgia there, a lot of history that the NHRA has built there. And to see some of these tracks that provide and have that history, it's sad to see them go, because you want the younger generation to be able to experience that same nostalgia and be able to build new history. But when one door closes, another one opens, and I'm sure that there will be other tracks that we'll be able to make history at. But this one, like Denver, it stings a little bit, you know.
No, for sure, for sure. Like I said, all the history that's happened there at Heartland Motorsports Park. And I told you this on Inside the NHRA. I actually have family roots in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, to be exact. But, I always felt like because of that, I have to make it out to Heartland Motorsports Park. Just the only unfortunate part is they announced this closing 2 weeks before the actual final event. So it's going to make it tough to get out there. But yeah, man, it's tough to see Heartland Motorsports Park go away. Before we get out of here, we've talked a lot about the national event in Sonoma this past weekend. Want to give a shout out to all the winners from Funny Car Chaos at Albuquerque Dragway this past weekend. Albuquerque Drag Race celebrating their 60th anniversary. Guess what? So I never knew that Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is in New Mexico, is at almost high of an elevation as Bandimere Speedway. So no car has ever ran in the threes in the 8th mile there. So what does Funny Car Chaos do? They say, hey, the first driver to run in the threes at Albuquerque Dragway will win $6,000. And guess what? First pair on the racetrack, first qualifying session, your reigning Funny Car Chaos champion, Kirk Williams, he gets it done. 394. He wins the $6,000. He qualifies number 1 overall with a 385. But in the end, in the A field, Keith Zimmermer in the penny pincher, he takes the win, defeats Kirk Williams in the final round. He wins the A field at the Funny Car Chaos race at Albuquerque Dragway. Congratulations to Ray Stringer in the Blow Scentless. He wins the B field. And guess what? Ray Stringer is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hometown win for Ray Stringer. And finally, congratulations to Justin Herbst and the Executioner. He wins the C field. So congratulations to all of our winners from Funny Car Chaos at Albuquerque Dragway, celebrating 60 years of power.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot to say. But yeah,
that was a lot to say.
And you know who was on the property? Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer.
Of course.
Of course.
I want to be like him when I grow up.
Yeah, he's everywhere, man. Eating good food, going to drag races, traveling, getting content.
We need to have a Where's Craft.
Where's Craft?
That's what we need to have.
I agree. Where's Craft? Where's Lee Craft? Where is he at right now? I have no idea.
I have no idea. He did not disclose his location.
Well, Dujanay, man, happy to have you on again here on the Competition Plus Power Hour, pinch hitting for Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer. Man, it's always great to have you here. And, man, come back in the future, man. Love to have you on.
Yeah, man. It was fun, and it was great having Bobby come on. Like I said, man, it's always a privilege to be on this platform as long as it's been around. And, it's cool, man. I always have fun. We always have fun talking shop and especially talking drag racing. So yeah, man. Anytime, I'm always up for it.
Hey, whether it's between the slicks, whether it's inside the NHRA Competition Plus Power Hour, we're always here live talking drag racing. That's what we love to do.
Yes,
we appreciate all the fans coming out. And like I said, we appreciate you guys coming out tonight and hanging with us here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Make sure to like this show, share this show, leave a comment, and let everybody know we're talking everything drag racing. Thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.